Hey everyone, and welcome back to Art a la Carte and day 2 of the art tutorial challenge. If you missed out on yesterday's art tutorial challenge, I'll leave a link right here for it so you can go and take a peek at that. And for today's challenge, the request came from actually a lot of you, but I chose the first person in the comments that I could find who asked for this. And so this comment goes out to just Julianne, who requested a tutorial for a tree. I have a tree tutorial on how to draw an oak tree, so if you want to see an oak tree, I'll put a link to that one right here. But there are a ton of trees out there, and I actually had a lot of you guys asking for how to draw like the tree base, before and after leaves, and so I picked a really fun one to try out. So we're going to be drawing a magnolia tree, and I'm going to show you a really fun and easy way to apply all the leaves or flowers, if you want, onto your tree. But make sure to stay to the end of this video so that you can find out how you can help choose tomorrow's tutorial. Remember, this is going to last for 7 days in total, so this is day number 2, so this goes all the way until next Monday, so be checking back every single day. But for now, let's get drawing. To start this drawing off, I'm going to begin by laying down a ground line where I want my tree to grow out of. This can be on a slant, this could be straight, flat, however you want. And then I'm going to put just the mark where I want the trunk to come out. Now before I start in designing the branches, I am going to just outline the whole shape. So the picture that I am using of this magnolia tree is kind of a half circle if you look at it. So I'm going to outline that first. Now it's the time to begin designing out your tree branches. Now there's no really fast set rule with a magnolia tree. That's why I love them so much. They're wild and crazy. They generally start branching out very close to the ground. I think I'm not a tree person, an arborist, I guess, but I would say they're kind of related to a bush more than a tree, just because they branch out. So if you think of like how a bush kind of branches out, it might help you a little bit better. And again, that totally depends on the type of magnolia tree that you're looking at. This was the one that I was looking at, and it had a really short trunk, so maybe there's different kinds out there. You'll also notice as I get further out on my branches that every time a branch divides, it gets smaller. So you're never going to divide a branch and then have that branch be thicker than the branch it came out of. If you have a hard time getting a more natural line, or maybe your line is too just tight and controlled, try holding your pencil a different way. So here I'm pinching the pencil from the side instead of holding it normally and dragging it along, and this limits my control over the pencil and in turn gives it a little bit more of a natural line. Once you have the basic shape of the tree the way you want, now you can begin to go in and darkening in your lines. I'm going to use a dark brown colored pencil and begin to color this in. Now, if you want to get a little bit more detail into the texture of the bark or the actual tree itself, as you're adding in this dark color, don't color the whole thing in solid. So you'll see I'm skipping lots of different places. I'm kind of thinking about how the light would land on the tree, what parts would be pushed back. So those parts I'm going to add a little bit more darker of color. Things that I want pulled forward a little bit, I'm going to leave lighter. And there's going to be a trick that I'm going to show you in a little bit with tone paper. So you'll see that I'm not drawing on regular white paper. I'm using kind of a brown cardstock. And I got this at my local craft store, and I just cut them down to size. I think it's more like scrapbooking paper, but I love working on tone paper. And I'm going to show you a trick why this is so fun, especially with colored pencils. So here is my tree all decorated out. This is with no leaves, so you can kind of see how that looks. I'm going to take a dark green and add in just the green of the grass underneath this, and if this is as far as you want to go, you have a finished tree. But if you want to continue adding in a little bit more detail, I'm going to take a lighter shade of colored pencil. For this one I'm kind of using a really kind of a olive green, very light colored shade, and you'll see as I put this onto the tone paper, it just pops because the tone paper is dark and the lighter shades of your colored pencils are really going to show. So now I'm going to begin scrubbing this color around my tree, and you're going to see that with the Prismacolor colored pencils that I'm using, the way they work is that the paper is going to really pick up on the pigment of the color on places that don't already have pigment on it. So in those little gaps and areas that I didn't scrub my color in with the darker shade, now as I'm going over with the lighter shade, that paper is just grabbing onto that color. Depending on the product that you use, the brand of colored pencils that you use, it may act differently. So it just takes a little trial and error to figure out exactly how your medium works. So here we have our tree. For those of you who asked for just a tree with no leaves, there we go. But now I want to teach you guys a really cool technique for putting on leaves or flowers. So for this, I'm going to use a really opaque paint called gouache. It's like works like watercolor, and gouache is really fun. It's opaque. That means that you can layer the colors on top of each other, and each color is pretty much going to cover up the last color. Now, when painting with an opaque paint, you can usually start with the darkest shades first. If you do a transparent paint, you want to start with your lightest and then go dark. So if you're painting with watercolor itself, start with your lightest colors first and then work in dark. But this is what's so fun about gouache. So I'm mixing in a really deep shade of kind of dark purpley red for the shadows of the tree. And then with my brush, I'm just stippling on the color. Now the thing I don't want to do is cover up everything. I want to be able to see the limbs behind there, but I want to think about how they would clump together. And again, this is going to come from just looking at reference photos and trial and error. There have been a gazillion trees I've drawn that have not turned out, but every time I draw them, they get better and better. After the darker shades are on there, then I'm going to go to lighter pink, and you're going to begin to see how this tree is taking on dimension. Again, I'm not trying to cover up all the branches, nor am I trying to cover up all of the darker shades, but I am wanting to overlap them. So don't just have your dark shades here and then not have your lights overlap that, but make sure that everything can kind of peek through a little bit and have fun with it. And remember, if it doesn't turn out the first time the way you want it, it's all about practicing. These tutorials aren't meant for a one fix wonder. You look at the tutorial and then boom, you can draw this perfectly. Art is something that takes a lot of practice. So have fun with this. Adding in some finishing detail like some of the petals falling to the ground is really, really fun. And again, you can do this with any shade of color and not have like a flowering tree. If you use greens or golds or oranges, you could have a really nice foliage tree as well. There we go, our finished tree. And of course, don't forget to sign your name. Well, I hope you enjoyed this creative way of drawing leaves on your tree. It's really fun. Again, you don't have to use this technique just to draw flowers. You could use it to draw any color of leaves, whether they're green or gold or red or brown or whatever. Maybe you have blue trees. I don't know. So now's the time for you guys to help me determine what you want to see in tomorrow's tutorial video. So let me know in the comments below what you would like. Remember, 1 comment per person per video. So you can request every single day a different tutorial or the same tutorial if I don't choose yours. And I will pick 1 comment out of all of them and do a tutorial for that. After you finish posting your comment, you might want to check out a few of these videos or playlists. These are some of the higher requested tutorials that I actually have already done. And I found it was a little bit easier for me just to do a compilation of them here at the end of each video, than commenting back directly to each and every single comment saying, well, this video's here and that video's there. So yeah. If you enjoyed this video or one of the other videos, make sure to share it with your friends and family on social media. That really helps people to find our channel. And if you're brand new to this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any future videos. And until next time, God bless you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye!
Pencil and some paper and the best